Steensma.
Okay, now go.
Okay. Reverend Timothy Steensma is an interfaith minister who has studied with many top credentialed channels, metaphysical teachers, and quantum energy workers in the world. He has used his wide array of experiences and skill sets to help educate, motivate, and relate to his clients and audiences alike for 18 years at a full-time professional service career level. Having faced many challenges and hardships in his life, it is those exact situations that bring forth his personal magic and medicine. His intent is to show people that they can overcome and thrive, finding hope and faith in the divine, themselves and in humanity, and thrive because of those earlier challenges. He is an exceptional channel, message bearer, and energy worker. His passion is teaching and healing and bringing people closer to God. He aspires to be the kind of person he would have loved to have had in his life during his earlier years of being an empath and sensitive soul. Help me welcome Reverend Timothy. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We can do better than that. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. So today, my sermon topic is called The Hidden Ripples, Trusting God with Our Influence. So now everyone who knows me for any amount of time knows that I'm not a Bible thumper. I think it's been manipulated, bastardized, and used with a hidden agenda. But I do believe there are many beautiful nuggets there to live by. It says in Galatians 6:9, let us not become weary in doing good. For the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Have you ever thrown a small pebble into a calm, quiet pond? You only see the initial splash, right? But what happens next? The tiny ripple begins at that spot, but it doesn't stay there. It spreads out, moving beyond where you dropped the stone, touching the distant, unseen shores of the pond. Our lives are exactly like that pond. Every day, we are throwing pebbles into the pond of humanity through our words, our smiles, our actions, and even our attitudes. But here's the profound truth. We rarely get to see the ripples. We live in a culture obsessed with immediate feedback. We want to know our work matters immediately. But God has designed a life of faith differently. He often keeps the results hidden from us. Today, I want to share with you how we never fully know how we will impact other people's lives and why that is actually a blessing. I believe in the power of small things. We tend to think that only massive, bigger than life, earth-shattering actions make a difference. We wait for the perfect moment to do something huge. But the Bible tells us that God works through the small, the ordinary, the insignificant. Think of the young boy in John 6 who gave his 5 loaves and 2 fish up. A simple lunch. He didn't know it would lead to feed thousands. Think of the little girl in 2 Kings 5 who told Naaman's wife about the prophet in Samaria. Her small sentence of advice led to a miracle of healing. Think about a group of nearly 24 Buddhist monks from the Hong Dao Vispana Bhavana Center in Fort Worth, Texas, accompanied by their dog, Aloka. In nearly the end of their remarkable 2,300-mile walk for peace to Washington, D.C. that began in October, they arrived at the Capitol mid-February 2026. The monks have spent over 100 days walking to promote peace, kindness, creating a ripple across the United States. Their mission, transcending religion to focus on shared humanity, has drawn thousands of supporters to the roadside when they were there, turning a silent, barefoot pilgrimage, I always get stuck on that word, into a national movement of hope, unity, and healing. The impact, thousands of people came out to meet them, offer food, prayers, joining the walk, creating a wave of community support and kindness. But did you ever think that you might be one of those people mentioned above also? A sincere smile at a cashier who's having a terrible day. A note of encouragement left on a coworker's desk. An email of appreciation sent to someone you barely know. Checking in on that friend who you haven't talked to in a while. You might think to yourself, oh, that was nothing. But to someone struggling with loneliness or depression, that action could be the very thing that keeps them going that day. We can never know all of the unseen consequences of our actions, it says in Romans 14:7. For none of us lives to himself, and no one dies to himself. So I want to share with you what triggered this topic for speaking today. Several days ago, I was on Instagram and I saw a post, and I'm going to share it with you right now. Excuse me if I still get a little emotional about this, and I encourage you to let whatever comes up in you be released also. It's us feeling the ripple effect of someone else's stone in the pond. It started. I'm a librarian. We close at 9 p.m., but I stay until midnight doing inventory. Alone in the building, last month I found a library card on the floor under a deep shelf. The library card said, expired 1987. The name on it, Ethan Brooks, age 12. 37 years old, I almost threw it away. Then I saw what was written on the back in kids' handwriting, return this when I'm somebody. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Who was Ethan Brooks? Did he become somebody? Did he ever come back? I looked him up in our system. Last checkout was June 1987, The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Never returned it. So then she did something weird. She searched his name online, found him, obituary. Ethan Brooks died 3 months ago, age 49, never married, no kids, worked at a factory his whole life. The obituary mentioned donations to that very library. In memory of the place that raised me when home couldn't. That broke me. This kid checked out one book, wrote a promise to himself, return this when I'm somebody. And 37 years later, he died thinking he never became somebody, but he was. He donated to them, the library that raised him. She had the card laminated. She put it in a frame. Alongside it at the circulation desk with a note, Ethan Brooks never returned this book. But he returned to us with every donation he made. He was somebody to every kid who read a book because of his generosity. That's who he became. Didn't think much would happen. I was wrong. People started leaving their old library cards. Hundreds of them from the 70s, 80s, 90s, with notes about who they became. I'm a teacher now. I'm a mom of 3. I'm still trying. We covered an entire wall, called it the somebody wall, because Ethan Brooks thought he wasn't somebody, but he started something bigger than he'll ever know. A woman came in last week, 70 years old, walked straight to Ethan's card, stared at it for about 20 minutes. I finally asked if she was okay. I knew him, she said. I was this elementary school teacher. He used to come into the school library also because his home wasn't safe. He'd read until closing almost every single day. I also wondered what had happened to him. She started crying. I wrote him a note once in a book I gave him. You're already somebody, Ethan. Don't forget that. He must have not believed it. She pulled out her old library card from 1985 when she was a young teacher, added it to the wall, wrote on the back, I became a teacher because of kids like Ethan. He made me somebody too. We saved each other. The somebody wall has over 847 cards now. People from people who thought they weren't enough, who thought their lives didn't matter, who worked factory jobs and raised children and lived quiet lives and wondered if they were somebody. They were. They all were. Because Ethan Brooks left a library card on the floor with a promise he thought he would never keep. But he did. He became exactly who he needed to be, somebody who remembered where he came from and made sure other kids would have what he had. A place that raises you when home can't. That's who he became. That's who they all became. We cannot walk through this world without impacting it. In metaphysical terms, this just tells us that we're all connected to this one source as one huge energetic soup. You bring your special ingredient and flavor, and that is very important to the recipe. You are a part of an ingredient made up of other people's soup and lives also. And did you know, just like I'm a minister and Gina and Lisa is a minister, you also are? You are always preaching a sermon by the life you live, whether you realize it or not. There's a story of a woman who attended a support group every week. She felt she was just showing up and doing the work. She didn't feel special. She didn't feel unique. But one night, a man approached her and thanked her. She didn't recognize him, but he told her that her constant presence, her quiet, faithful commitment, had given him the hope he needed to stay in the program and turn his life around. She never knew. She was just simply being faithful to her own journey. And when God was using her as a vessel of grace, it was completely unknown to her. The danger in never knowing our impact on others' lives is that we can become, the danger in never knowing our impact on others is that we can become weary in doing good. Galatians, again, 6:9. We help, we give, we pray, we encourage, and nothing changes immediately. We feel ignored. We feel unappreciated. We feel unseen. When you feel like your kindness is wasted or that your influence is invisible, remember this: your impact is not measured by your visibility. I'm going to say that again. Your impact is not measured by your visibility. God doesn't call us to be popular. He calls us to be faithful. You are always planting seeds. Some seeds sprout in minutes, others take years. Some need to go through a fire process before they fully open and germinate. And some of you won't see the bloom until eternity reveals itself. But when you are kind, when you act from love, when you are compassionate, you are reflecting the Christ consciousness's heart. And that is never, ever wasted. If we knew the full impact of our lives, We might become proud, or we might try to manipulate the results. By keeping the outcome hidden, God invites us to live in faith and trust the process of growing in Him. Our goal is not to measure the impact. Our goal is to steward our influence. We are called to be the light, to help others grow. And in being that light, we become a carrier of hope. You never know when your kind word is the only hope someone will hear that day. I encourage you to pray without ceasing. Dedicate yourselves to praying for people, even those who are the most difficult. Your prayer has a unique power, more life and soul changing than you could ever imagine. I encourage you to send your light and healing energy to yourself, others, and into the world. Focused energy has tremendous power for the gift of change, especially with what's going on now in the world. The world definitely needs your special energy, your special ingredient today and going forward. I encourage you to act without expectations. When you give without expecting to be repaid, you are operating in the economy of God. You need to trust the hidden harvest you are planting. You never know what seeds will take root and germinate in a glorious garden of heaven on earth. You may never know whose life you change simply by showing up. You may never know whose day was brightened, whose despair was broken, or whose soul was pointed toward heaven simply because of you. But God knows. Let us walk forward here today knowing that our lives are never insignificant. Throw your pebbles of kindness. Throw your prayers out there like a sacred fertilizer. Shine your light and trust that even if you don't see the ripples, God is creating a beautiful eternal wave that never ceases to keep moving towards the shore of oneness. Just like Ethan Brooks, who only lived 49 years, who died several years ago, ripples through all of us going forward forevermore. Thank you.